YouTube, it's Tired Metalhead Weatherman. Hope you guys are doing well. Mentioned in yesterday's video. By the way, that's gonna be linked up in the right hand corner of the screen here. But I mentioned yesterday that I was gonna have a video for you guys. We're gonna do a little bit of a long range forecast here. It's about time again to do so. And then also we're gonna go over a couple other things. This video might run long. It's also a little bit of a chance for me to give you this disclaimer while I'm ahead that videos like this, these long range forecasts, you take these with a grain of salt because the further out you get, the more unreliable these forecasts are. These can easily change at the drop of a dime. So just if you are going to watch this, watch with that understanding in mind. Without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at things right now. We're going to look at pretty much the whole country right now, and we're going to take a look at the tropics too in a minute. But we're going to take a look at what's been going on right now, see where some thunderstorms might be developing. It looks like we got some activity towards the south and east right now. Nothing unusual. These are your typical summertime thunderstorm setups. I do see an interesting little area over here that's in the Gulf. There's no spin to it, so I don't think this is anything any point of interest. No tropical wave at the moment. There's no real spin just yet. We'll have to watch that. That area honestly looks a little bit more interesting off the coast than this right here. But even so, we'll have to just see how things play out with that. I don't expect any activity over here per se. And then over here we have plenty of cloud cover around the northern plains here. Handful of thunderstorms forming around Iowa, and then beyond that, it's relatively quiet. A few clouds here and there, some pop-up storms around the eastern half of the country. Let's go ahead and take a look at the water vapor too while we're at it. Alright, so for the most part, it's not really that dry around the country. A lot of areas are going to have some pretty sufficient moisture all across the board. What I would really like to see is a little bit more rain towards Texas. These guys have been going through a pretty significant drought now, and we just can't seem to get any real moisture over in this area, any sort of rain to really form up in this area over here. There is some hope that maybe this could change soon, but this is the video where we're going to find out. Let's go ahead and roll this on real quick just before we move on to the next thing. Alright, so here's our little upper level low right around this region here towards Wisconsin and Iowa. It's going to be causing some significant showers and thunderstorms around the Chicago area and increasing the flood threat over there. And then if we look over towards the Four Corners, we have our monsoonal flow going, and this is going to lead to more thunderstorms developing over there. And of course towards the southeast, it's that time of year, so these storms are going to be popping up and increasing in coverage over the next few hours. So it's a little bit going on, but nothing super organized in the way of severe weather, thankfully. So we're going to go back to visible, and we're going to actually go over towards the West African coast here because we do have a tropical wave that's starting to take shape over here towards the East Atlantic. Now daylight's starting to come to an end over here, so it's going to be it may be a little difficult here to see. If so, we can try and go infrared here, see if this will help. Yeah, here we go. This is a lot better. This is leaning more towards this looks more towards the cooler cloud tops. But if you look right here, right around this not developmental region. I can't remember the name for it right now. There's a name for it, but I'm just kind of drawing a blank in my head, so I apologize for that. If you look right here, there's a little area here that's trying to swell up right here, and if you look, it does have a little bit of spin to it. We'll have to see what this does right here, but this area is synonymous with just intense thunderstorm development all the time. It's usually just south of Cape Verde, which it is in this case. But it looks like that Saharan dust has started to clear out, and now we're going to have to start watching this area for storms to be popping off here. in case you missed it, we also had both the National Oceanic, or NOAA, or National Oceanic Atmospheric Association, and Colorado State say that there is going to still be an active above average hurricane season. So as a result, we're going to have to be even more watchful of areas like this. So this is going to be interesting to see how all of this unfolds, because the numbers haven't really changed much. So we'll have to keep all of that in mind. Now, as we go back to the lower 48 here, we're going to take a quick look at what might lie ahead here. We're looking at the Euro right now. As you can see, we have this ridge in place. We have this little little pocket of low pressure right here. It's upper level low. It's hanging around. It's not super impressive. It's pretty weak for an upper level low. In fact, it's about 1,011 millibars. You want to see something a little bit lower to be more impressed. But these ridges look pretty impressive, to be honest. We'll move this along here. Sorry if you're hearing my guitar pick flop around on the table. I think it was sitting on my computer on my laptop. But the real reason I bring this up is because I want you to pay attention to these little areas that are in the white, these little neutral areas. These are going to be our battle zones. Because if you think about it, how do thunderstorms form? It's a collision between warm and cold air masses. It's warm here, it's cold, it's colder here. So there's warm and cold, and then right around here is going to be our battle zone where those two air masses will meet, and we will get thunderstorm development. And unfortunately, if you look at where these little clear areas are, you notice eastern Kentucky and parts of West Virginia, they're right there. And then if you look back a little bit, you kind of see St. Louis like right around that same spot, unfortunately. And this pattern seems to continue continue for a little bit of a ways into this week. Pretty big area of thunderstorms. Uh-oh, there goes the map. I guess I'm going a little too fast for it, but all you guys that have been getting hit by flooding recently, you're going to have to be on the lookout, because this doesn't seem like it's over just yet. So don't let your guard down. We have a big area of high pressure start to develop here. Look at this ridge, very stout ridge of high pressure taking shape here. But if you notice here on Thursday, a pretty big area of low pressure here, bringing in some cooler temperatures for parts of the eastern half of the country. But this, of course, will not last long, because here comes the ridge, and before we know it, we have more storms forming around the same areas yet again, and then this ridge will kick out this cooler air. Or does it? Actually, this is interesting. This ridge kind of kicks this little low pressure a little further up north, and then there's a new low pressure behind it. This also will lead to a more active weather pattern, meaning there might be more storms ahead. But if this does result in a cool down, which it looks like it very well might, I'm sure that's relief for everybody. And this low pressure even moves its way into Texas, which could ultimately lead to some active weather around there. Maybe even some maybe a good bit of showers and storms. We don't want that to fall too quickly, because then we could be in a similar situation to eastern Kentucky. But it would be a nice sight to see a little bit of rain falling over here. Kind of start to chip away at that drought little by little. This low pressure will work its way to the south and east towards the end of the model run, and this will be about 10 days out, and we'll go further from there. But let's go ahead and look at any sort of severe weather ingredients. I'm sure there will be some, given the fact that we have such strong air masses colliding with one another at different points. Although I do think this is going to be more of a warm air dominant type deal. We can't rule out the possibility of some more severe weather ahead. We're going to we're on pivotal weather here. We're looking at our mixed layer cape, and pretty much anything that's in the blue and beyond, there's a good chance of thunderstorms, and anything that's in orange, there's a chance for severe, Because once you get above that 2,000 joules per kilogram mark, it's a pretty good environment for stronger severe storms. So we'll move this along. And we're looking into Monday now. If I remember correctly, I didn't see a severe weather threat for any of these days so far. But marginal risk could be issued in the days ahead, I would say. And then look at this little notch of a cape around here that's working its way into southern Georgia and parts of Florida. I have to watch that real close. Now, as we get further along into this forecast, the Cape values kind of get a little bit wacky here. It's kind of hard to get a read on Cape values this far out, but the fact that we're seeing something like this over here does lead me to think that there is a increased chance of showers and thunderstorms around Oklahoma and Texas. Very good news. The key is not to get this to fall all at once, because that could be just as hurtful as the drought itself too. So we'll see what happens, but I do see some promise here. We'll look at another feature just to make sure that we can potentially verify it, because like I said, once we get further out on these forecasts, a lot tends to change. But I do have some increased confidence about this. I've been hearing a little bit about this setup, but this is me going over it myself, viewing it with my own eyes. Hang on a minute. Alright, so we're going to about... Oh, hit the wrong button. Oops, hitting the wrong everything. And it looks like there is a little bit of increased activity around Texas. I do think that little feature is going to play a part in maybe bringing some rain to southern Texas. And then as we go further and further out into this forecast, it looks like we do get a little bit more low pressure like we were looking at the anomaly map coming into play around this region, which is huge news. We need that around here. Of course, southeast is still going to be active. Monsoonal region, the Four Corners, definitely going to be active as well. And then when we look over here towards the end of this upcoming week, it does look like there's a increased concentration of flash density over here, so this could be an area of severe weather. I do think probably the main threat will be damaging winds and hail. Nothing new here, but we'll keep an eye out as the days go by to see what happens next. Now, as we go in the next week, we're 7 days out now, and we have an increased area of activity around here, around Iowa, Missouri, towards the Missouri Valley. We'll have to watch this. We'll have to watch towards the Central Plains and towards Montana as well. So it looks like we do have some good good agreements between our different model types on the potential for increasing storm activity around different parts of the country, which is a good sign, especially for Texas. We'll see what lies ahead, and then of course we will be watching the tropics. I may go over that a little bit more in depthly tomorrow, especially as I get more information available. But things are definitely taking a more interesting turn here. So now we're gonna just basically we're gonna get over to the stuff that everybody's familiar with, the precipitation type. This is basically what the radar could look like over the next 10 days. I'm just gonna throw this on in a good loop and just kind of break down what I need to break down here, because I'm pretty sure for the most part we've gone over everything we needed to. Oh, that's a little too fast. Alright, here we go. So here's our low pressures here. We'll have to watch out for some severe storms. Oh, hang on a minute. Let me pause that. We go about 96 hours out. I do see a little feature that's taken shape here in the Gulf that looked interesting, like it had a little bit of spin on it. And it looks like we have frozen because I tried to pause it by hitting the wrong key. Oh gosh. Okay, here we go. or maybe not. Oh boy. I think I might have broken my computer here. Trying to keep this video short if I can. We're at 15 right now, so I think we're okay. Oh wow. Yeah, this thing's going crazy now. I may have screwed this computer up. Will it pause? Oh wait, there we go. Jeez. This is the fun part about being a small channel right now. You get to see a lot of the crazy stuff that I still got to deal with. We'll be open about it. We aren't going to hide it. May not be professional, but hey. I'm a metalhead. What about me is professional? Anyway. But actually, I think it was about, 69 hours out? Which is actually pretty close. But look at this little feature right here that the Euro's picked up on. We'll move this forward a couple of frames and we'll see what this does, because I don't remember seeing this in an earlier model run. Come on now. Hang on. I mean, it doesn't look super stout, but it looked interesting. Like that was I remember hearing some rumblings about a tropical system in the Caribbean, a tropical wave, nothing super organized though. Move this back to where it was. But if we move this along, oh dear, this thing does not want to work with me, does it? But we move this along here and it just kind of lingers there. And I think this actually might be what heads to Texas. It's kind of hard to say. It kind of has it looking like something one minute and then falling apart the next. So this is going to have to be something else that we're watching too. But clearly you can see very active weather pattern, just low pressure after low pressure going through the same areas all over again. Again, areas like St. Louis, Eastern Kentucky, West Virginia, watch out. Because, I mean, there are days where you will be dry, and then there will be other days where we get a nice little conglomerate of storms coming together, maybe even an MCS. With the way the Cape values look, that definitely seems like that could be in the cards, especially as we go later into the month. And this looks like a very interesting system here coming towards coming towards the start of the second half of the month. This is a pretty big system, actually. Looks like a nice line of storms potentially developing here. We'll see what this does. We'll be watching that over the coming days. It's about 9-10 days out, so I'm not going to have any concrete info on this for a little while, but we will be watching this, so I'll make a mental note, if you will. On the 17th, we'll be watching for an upcoming storm system around that time frame. But that's it for this video. I'm not trying to run this much further than I need to, even though my computer kind of did that for me. But anyway, this is Tired Metalhead Weatherman. I will see you in the next video. I'll see you soon. Ouch. Damn, man. That was fun. What the fuck? Where's my...